Hey y'all, welcome to Wild Blue. So let me tell you about this curious theory that people out there believe in, the hollow earth theory. Now I ain't saying it's true or false or nothing, but it is an interesting tale. The idea is that our planet isn't some kind of solid ball, but rather it's hollow with a whole other world inside it. And this ain't no ordinary world, mind you. It's inhabited by all sorts of strange creatures and beings, with continents and rivers and bodies of water mirroring those here on the surface. Even thoughts that there's advanced civilizations, even more advanced than the one here we got on the surface, existing down there just below our feet. Sounds pretty crazy, doesn't it? Well, let's get on into it and see if there's anything to this story.
Aliens are among us. No doubt about it.
So there's a lot of theories associated with this hollow earth, which can also be known as the interior or inner earth, many going back hundreds or even thousands of years. The ancient Greeks had their belief in the underworld ruled by Hades, where all the souls of the dead would depart once they left this life. And there's Patala, that's part of ancient Hindu mythology. There's ancient German and Siberian myths that had these entrances to the inner earth somewhere within the boundaries of where they lived. In Native American legends, there's the Mandan People that supposedly came out of some entrances to this inner earth near the Missourri River. And then there's a belief in the Hopi Tribe that some of these inner earth beings came out somewhere near the Grand Canyon. Now when it comes to the hollow earth, well, look, there's a few different theories out there as to what this would actually look like. Some folks out there think that this inner world is basically a mirror image of our own on the inside surface, containing continents and oceans and everything similar to what we got here. And then others believe that we're actually on the inside of the earth, and the sun we look at is actually the core. And then others say that this interior earth is more like a series of gigantic interconnected caverns with strange geologic formations and rivers and stuff running through it. And then these civilizations are built around those. Now there's some major problems if you look into the physics of how at least those first two theories would work. For the first one, you would basically have to have some kind of gravitational force working on the inside of the crust that lines the world we're seeing here on the surface and that inner world. And that second one is pretty wild too, and really not even worth mentioning just because it don't make no sense at all. You basically have to have an inversion of our understanding of the laws of physics for it to even begin to make sense. So going back to that first hollow earth theory that I mentioned, there's a French physicist by the name of Pierre Bouguer who conducted experiments on vertical deflection, basically using gravity to show that the earth is more or less solid. And then you got English scientist Charles Hutton, who went and conducted his own experiments in 1774 to determine the density of the earth, which showed that there weren't no way that it could be hollow. But that ain't stopped this belief from being perpetuated throughout the years. We got all kinds of science fiction stories going back, from Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth, and then you got the story of Agartha, which is basically a legendary kingdom that resides on the inside of the earth. And this one was popularized by a French occultist by the name of Alexandre Saint-Yves d'Alvadre in 1886. You know, I'm probably butchering his name, but you know, he butchered our scientific beliefs with these ideas of this hollow earth. But anyway, this Agartha is said to be something of a Shambhala, basically this legendary magical kingdom that's more amazing and greater than anything here on the surface. And this idea was pushed further by the Thule Society, was basically like an early Nazi group that basically believed that there's this advanced Aryan race that inhabited this kingdom of Agartha, and I believe they believe that they were descended from these guys, which is of course what these Nazis do. Anyway, they were wiped out along with the rest of them back in the day. There's also talk of an American named Admiral Byrd who conducted an expedition to the North Pole in the mid-1940s after World War II. Now, I've mentioned him here a few times, and one of these days he's going to get a video here of his own. But moving on into this story, in March of 1947, he conducted this experiment to the Arctic to look into the North Pole. And according to the supposed lost portions of his diary that appeared in 1984, he traveled through this opening in the North Pole into the inner Earth. And there he encountered all sorts of crazy things. He saw mountains and rivers and bodies of water, as I've mentioned. He came across these people, tall, blonde, and German-speaking people, and basically told him that with the invention of the atomic bomb, we were at great risk of destroying ourselves, and they were pushing for world peace and all that. They escorted his plane in these craft that resembled what we would expect to see as UFOs, these flying saucer looking things, and after all this he was allowed to leave and return to the surface. Now that certainly sounds like some science fiction right there, but it is an interesting story. All in all, if this theory is to be true in some form or fashion, I'd have to go with the idea that there's basically just these massive caverns that are housing these advanced civilizations. Still a bit far-fetched, but less so than the ones that I've just discussed. And the next question would be, what inhabits these subterranean civilizations? You know, some people believe that UFOs and aliens come from right here on Earth, coming out of these entrances into the underground civilizations that lie beneath our feet. And I've already mentioned the Nordics that were possibly countered by Admiral Byrd, these tall, human-looking aliens with the blonde hair and all that, and I've discussed them in some previous videos. Then you got the idea of these creatures known as the Darrow, and they're said to be sort of these evil beings that live beneath the surface of the Earth and come up occasionally causing all kinds of mischief and calamity here on the surface. Some say they look like gnomes or trolls with these tall pointy ears and long crooked noses. Others say they're more like goblins or gremlins with these mischievous evil grins and evil looking eyes. There's also the beliefs that the descendants of ancient Atlanteans still live beneath the surface in this continuation of their civilization. And then there's also belief that the Lemurians that are similar to the Atlanteans and being this lost civilization, they also live there in the subterranean kingdom. And then there's ideas that these reptilian aliens live there beneath the surface in these massive underground caverns, and they also come up and cause problems here on Earth. They control the UFOs that are flown by the gray aliens. And then finally you got the belief in this underworld lying beneath the surface, inhabited by all kinds of demons and souls of the dead. And you know, there's even stories of some Russian scientists drilling this hole down to the center of the Earth, basically where these guys live, hearing the screams of all the people being tortured down there. And that sounds pretty far-fetched as well, but there is this recording here that, you know, you listen to it and you tell me what you make of it. Now with what we got here, how can we determine if any of this is true? Now there's a list out there of supposed entrances into these subterranean worlds. They're all over the place, all over the United States and other places on the world. This list has been going around for many years. Who knows how old it is? Most of the websites I see it on look like they could go all the way back to the 90s. But anyway, I don't know if I'd recommend traveling to some of these cave entrances if you don't have the cave-in experience necessary to go through and encounter what you may encounter in there. As far as geological formations, and you don't want to get trapped down there. But there's some that are a little bit more accessible. Y'all take a look at the list. I'll post it in the description here. One day I'll do a video on the list itself because it's pretty interesting. I'll make some trips out to some of these locations as I find them. But anyway, maybe there is an underground world with room for all these freaks and weirdos that can't bear to come to the surface and experience life here where we are. Now, like I said before, I ain't saying any of this is true or false. It's just a fanciful idea that some folks like to entertain, and I'm entertaining it here as well. But you know, who knows, maybe there is a whole other world beneath our feet, full of strange creatures and untold wonders. It is a curious thought to be sure. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this video up. Y'all got any comments, let me know down below. Like and subscribe, check out our website and check out our Facebook page. And if y'all got any stories of UFOs or Bigfoot, aliens, or ghosts and anything of the like, any video footage you'd like to share or pictures, send them to wildbluetvstores@gmail.com. With that said, Wild Blue out.